Hey, welcome in. Well, I don't like watching videos of Joe Biden. It reminds me of my mortality, and that's depressing. It's not a good quality in a world leader that, when you look at them, the first thing you think is, I hope I don't get Alzheimer's one day. It's not a good thing when you look at them and you think, God, the universe really is cold and indifferent, isn't it? I mean, I know that death and decay is inevitable. I just don't want to be reminded of it all the time. It's depressing. But you know what? We're going to buck up and we're going to watch this video. Biden shakes hands with thin air after North Carolina speech. So let's indulge our morbid curiosity, shall we? So it looks like he looked over, thought that he saw Abbott and Costello, maybe W.C. Fields, realized he was having another episode, then kind of wandered off a bit confused, unsure where to go. The whole thing is very depressing. It's sad, and it makes you actually feel for the poor guy. It's very sad. And there's so many just kind of sad videos of Joe Biden. I mean, nobody wants to talk to him. He's the president. It's heartbreaking. Oh, he puts his hand on Obama's shoulder? Oh, come on. I mean, a lot of people believe that he's nothing more than a figurehead. All the people at this event, they really seem to believe it, because nobody's paying attention to him. And he honestly seems to have no agency. He doesn't seem to be able to marshal anything to demand anybody's respect. It's very meek behavior. He seems kind of confused. I mean, we've seen so much of this. And again, it is kind of heartbreaking, but then you have to remember, he's a terrible person. I mean, he does stuff like this. Biden administration weaponizes FBI to intimidate parents, opposed to critical race theory. I mean, that is appalling. Especially when you've got stuff like this. Homicides in major American cities increased in 2021. You can see a 44% increase over 2019. And yet his concern is this purely political move, a move to intimidate his political opponents. This is shocking. Oh, and remember that time he insinuated that Kyle Rittenhouse was a white supremacist? That was before the trial. How incredibly irresponsible. I mean, this old man trying to poison the justice well for a kid. That's not what a good person does. Oh, and of course, he wants to declare white supremacists the most lethal threat to the U.S., which is totally absurd and, again, completely political. And why? Why would he do this? It's because he wants to paint all of his opponents as WSs. It's absolutely appalling. Oh, well, there's also that thing about influence peddling and total political corruption. Remember that story from the New York Post that Twitter dutifully buried for him right before the election? Ukrainian exec thanked Hunter Biden for opportunity to meet Veep Dad. Yes, that's when Joe Biden was still vice president. And when he was using $1 billion of aid to Ukraine as leverage to get the Ukrainian prosecutor fired who was investigating the company that Hunter Biden was working for. In an industry that he had no experience in as well. Boy, I don't know, that sure sounds kind of corrupt to me. Oh, and there was the Fine People's hoax as well. This is from USA Today. Trump's Charlottesville comments twisted by Joe Biden and the media. Sure, Donald Trump said there were fine people on both sides, but in the next breath, he condemned neo-Nazis and white nationalists. Don't leave that out. Well, Joe did leave that out. He's still leaving that out. I mean, it's the most slimy politics imaginable. Oh, yeah, and there's the sniffing, right? It's always the sniffing. So I don't know about you. I mean, there is something tragic about seeing an old man who is lacking the agency of his youth and apparently even just basic mental faculties, apparently being used by cynical political actors, but Biden himself is a cynical political actor. He would do the same thing to somebody else. I think it would actually be less depressing if they just went full on, weekend at Biden's with him, right? Because then you'd know he wouldn't actually be experiencing any of this stuff. He was just, being kind of carried around by two Secret Service agents with sunglasses on. It would only be marginally more grotesque than what's happening now. Yeah, and it would make a hilarious 2024 race. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. That really helps me out. If you just like to listen, there's the podcast version. So on pretty much every platform. If you look for it, you will find it. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.